Today we have Adam Taggart from Thoughtful Money. We are analyzing his high bar barbell back squat. We are using WL analysis to look at his bar path. And at the bottom here we have bar velocity or bar speed. This is bar velocity based upon video, so not very accurate, but when dealing with Adam Taggart, you better show a graph. We have 255 pounds on the bar here, going for 5 reps. So with a barbell back squat, we always want to make sure that we are in a nice straight bar path, and that should go right through the midfoot, whether that's high or low bar variations of a barbell back squat. It should feel and look as if we are in a Smith machine. We can see some of our deviations in our bar path. Very good. Okay, so every squat starts with a good squat setup. We see Adam go underneath, through the bar, dries up, and then drops down. This is a very good and underrated part of a squat. We want to make sure that we are creating a good shelf by creating good scapular retraction and scapular depression. Remember, the point of contact of the bar is our upper back. Point of contact of the weight is very important and needs to be as stiff and as much tension there as possible. We don't want the thoracic to cave on us. So that's very good mechanics there. We see a little bit of a bar rotation, and that is due to those wrists being into excessive extension, and then you go to straighten that wrist out by rotating that bar. We try to avoid that so that we don't lose any of the tension we just built, and we keep that bar placed exactly where we want it. You can also stop the bar. Since the barbell has a bearinged sleeve, those weights can actually move independently of the bar itself. So those weights can continue to spin as you unrack, putting inertia into our barbell, and that's just something we try to avoid. It's a little bit more prevalent with steel plates, but something we always just try to mitigate. Good two-step walkout. This looks like a powerlifter walkout right here. Boom, 1, 2, good cadence. And these are good habits to build so that when we're in a near maximal squat, we have good habits that we've built. We don't take 8 steps. We're not walking across the gym. We're not ending up in the parking lot. We have 2 good steps. Boom, boom. Very nice. It's much easier to line your toes up. It's much easier to keep a nice symmetrical stance. You're not going to, have one foot in front of the other. So that looks great. Boom, boom. We also see a really nice, good belly breath. This shows me that he knows how to descend his diaphragm without expanding his chest, without lifting his rib cage. We don't see that bar raise up. We see the belly just come forward. That's very important. We don't have a weightlifting belt here, but with weightlifting belts, you are to push your abdominals in every direction into that belt. You'll see a lot of people really crank a belt down thinking it's like an actual brace or a corset. That's not the case. A belt is to push into or to create intra-abdominal pressure all the way around into a belt. So this is great. Great mechanics to see intra-abdominal pressurization being built here. That's fantastic. So we see the hips and knees break simultaneous. That's good mechanics. We want to see those hips and knees move simultaneously in a squat. We don't want to see the hips go back and then the knees, or the knees, then the hips. That's great. So we start to see our first form breakdown here. So we're in a high bar back squat, which means we're going to have a little bit more of an upright torso. That's great. We're keeping that same torso angle here, but we start to see it drop. We start to see the chest drop down and the torso angle change. We never want to change a torso angle in a squat. We want to maintain the same torso angle throughout, whether that's a high or low bar variation of a back squat. So when we change our torso angle, we are changing the mechanics of our squat. So now that bar is now in front of our midline. And this creates a moment arm. This decreases our leverage. So we'll have to counterbalance that by early raising the hips and turning this into a more of a back extension movement. Boom. So why is this occurring? What's going on here? So Adam said that, hey, I'm cursed with long femurs. Now that is a very two-dimensional viewpoint of a squat. And this is very common, as people think of the squat in a very two-dimensional plane. Knees forward, hips back, and then we squat. However, a squat involves the frontal plane. We need to actively abduct or drive those knees apart. And we do that by creating a good foot contraction into the ground that creates an external rotation demand that engages the hip that drives the knee out. And we can see that his knee caves, or we come into a valgus knee position. And that occurs because we're not actively abducting the leg. So we're thinking of the squat in a very two-dimensional way. This is not a flexibility problem. This is a technical prowess issue. As we see here, a cave and a little early raise of the hip and a forward lean of that bar. So when that bar comes forward like this, you're drastically decreasing your leverage. So you have to fight not the bar up, but the bar back. And you can see that big time on rep 5 here. So that bar is very far in front of us. That bar looks like it's over his toes. So it's not a fight for the bar up against gravity, which is very hard in and of itself, but we have to fight the bar back to midline to then execute the squat. And that becomes a hybrid back extension to squat motion. And we're doing this with barbell back squat weight. So back extension movements are great, but we're doing that with a barbell back squat weight. And we can see that as the fatigue sets in. Boom. Really losing our torso angle. Not taking advantage of the frontal plane by actively abducting and getting the hips involved. And we have to fight that bar back to midline. So we're just fighting our own selves here. And this is some of the most common issues with a barbell back squat. We're just not utilizing the frontal plane. We can shorten that femur drastically by just abducting, getting the hips underneath us a little bit more, getting the knees to pry out. So what we like to do here is work on a goblet squat or something that is front loaded. So the counterweight is now in front of us, not behind us. And this will allow you to squat a little bit more straight up and down. And then we'll add a band for an adduction force that you have to actively abduct into. And that band will be placed either ankle, mid-calf, or just below the knee. And this can allow you to actively abduct. And then with that weight in front of you, gives you a little bit more of a straight up and down motion. And this can immediately give you the awareness and technical prowess in a squat. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.